And welcome to Further Every Day. I'm your host, Charlie, and today we've got a number of really good topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the 10 most important U.S. battles in U.S. history, and we're also going to go over to Steve here. He's camping out with some of his shenanigans. Nikki has some very interesting facts to share with us today, things that will make you go, ooh, and So we got plenty of emotion to work out there. We're going to talk about our next letter in the Screw Tape Letters from C.S. Lewis, a really good book. If you've not read that, would totally encourage you to read that. We're going to go through the chapter 4 on that today. And then Ryan's got a couple of songs to do in our song review, 2 songs that are going to be what I call diametrically opposed from a theological standpoint. So we're looking forward to that. But my darling, how are you?
I'm very good.
She's like, what? He called on me.
Yes,
No.
I'm fine.
No, she's doing well. You're ready to go with the Nikki's Knows Facts today.
Yes, I am.
It's going to be a really good segment there. And then Mr. Steve, to my left, how are you doing this fine day?
Mr. Charlie, I am doing well, and I have got some good camping to go over.
Boy, I tell you,
Man,
you've done a lot of camping in your day.
I have done a tremendous
Well, you
amount of camping.
Yeah.
used to have a deer lease, didn't you?
Yes,
I thought
I
so.
camped
We're
there.
gonna-
I've camped in all kinds of primitive camping areas, various sites. I mean, out in the middle of nowhere.
Would you,
And
maybe I should save this question for later, but I'm going to ask real quick. Don't go far with it. Would you consider yourself a survivalist?
yeah,
Pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
And then over at the production table, we have Rai, the producer guy.
Captain
guys.
Robinson.
Captain Robinson. Oh my gosh.
Captain
That's me.
Robinson.
We've got a new nickname for Ryan. Yeah.
Robot.
Yep. Got a new nickname for Ryan. Well, it's good to have all of you guys. As I said earlier, John Arthur is out on work assignment right now, and he will be back. We miss him. And if you're tuning in, John Arthur, hey, hi from the gang. We promise to try to not destroy the show. And I'm being funny. But let's get into our show, shall we? And last week we talked about what I thought was a really important topic, the top 10 most important U.S. documents for history, and really incorporated some documents that maybe kind of would make you scratch your head initially, but after looking at them a little closer, you go, wow, okay, yeah, that had a significant impact. Today we're going to do military battles, and one of the things that we've already determined from Miss Nikki and Mr. Steve is that they were surprised at some of the battles on the list, not because they weren't important. They might argue that they shouldn't be on the top 10, but they didn't ever know about them. And what I fear is in our schools, we are spending only time on just a couple of battles, a couple of key battles. And really there needs to be what I would say a well-rounding, a well-understood history of our military and what it's done. It's not all been glamorous and roses. My heart aches about the things that happened regarding Vietnam, and it's not the only battle, if you will, or the only war. But I do want to say that there are some battles that have been very pivotal in American history, battles that have changed and shaped and brought us to the point of where we are. You can be down on America on some things, I get that, but at the end of the day, there is no country that has the freedom that America has. You can make a case that there's other countries that are better to live in. I would submit to you, you probably should get up and go. You shouldn't be around here, if that's the way you really feel. If you can't, I look at America much like I do going to church. If I cannot support my church, if I cannot give financially to my church, that is a church that I probably should not be at. And I should not darken the doors of it anymore. Find a good church. I could say the same about a country. If you don't like what this country is doing, if you don't like where it stands on certain things, leave. Leave. I frankly am very tired of seeing all the different people just beat up on President Trump just for the sake of beating up on President Trump. Knock it off. And I could say the same about Joe Biden. We don't need to beat up on President Joe Biden. Look, get involved in your political process. That's the way you make change. Vote. If you're listening today and you haven't voted in the last 2 years, shame on you. Shame on you. You should be voting. That's your duty. It's what this country was built on, for you to have the freedom to make the choices for your leaders. So I've ranted long enough on that. Let's get into our top 10 military battles. I do, Ryan's going to throw up here the criteria for the top 10. And I want you to understand that this is kind of a loose criteria. And if you feel like, no, by all means, put something in the comments. Let's hear it. Give us your justification one way or the other. But we want to talk about battles that impacted the trajectory of the future of the U.S., okay? We want to talk about a battle that provided key learnings, all right, for future wars or future battles. We also want to talk about those that impacted U.S. borders and alliances or global standing. So all these wars are not necessarily wars that have been fought in the U.S., but they were battles that the U.S. was involved with. You'll see what we're talking about. And then last but not least, this does not have to be after 1776, okay? And so hint, hint, I'm not going to give you any more, but I want you to understand that. So, Ryan, how about number 3, cut number 3 there? The first battle, anybody want to guess? The Battle of Saratoga. Now, you may be going, holy cow, are you kidding? Well, here's why. Watch this. This is the battle that persuaded France to ally with the U.S. It was pivotal in turning, it was a turning point in securing independence. And I think the lesser known facts on this are really interesting. This battle might not have gone the way that it did had it not been for, excuse me, one very interesting British general, General Burgoyne. All right. And so, Ryan, if you would throw up that next cut, please, and leave that up there for a minute. He brought a huge baggage train, including fine china, champagne. Okay. All right. Guys, I do not know, and Nikki and Steve, you guys can correct me. Do you know of any battle where a general has had their own big baggage train with fine china and champagne?
No.
Oh, let me think.
Something tells me MacArthur probably could have had a nice drink from time to time. How about Patton?
Patton might have had a whiskey.
A bottle, yeah.
You know,
but he wasn't running around with his baggage train.
No.
I would just like to personally thank British General Burgoyne. Thank you very much for having your big train and thinking that you were above all others and thinking that you could be treated like an elitist because that's what you did. And we thank you for that because it slowed your advances, which is really cool. I think that's awesome. Benedict Arnold played a key role in this battle before defecting. So a lot of people have it in for Benedict Arnold, duly noted. And okay, got that. But you might also want to remember he did some good things for the American side
Before he
as well.
became a traitor.
Before he became a traitor. So, and then lastly, this battle convinced France to formally ally with the United States, tipping the war in favor of the colonies. Early on in the Revolutionary War, the battles were not going very well. Okay, remember the first battle? Yep, Bunker Hill, where most of the battle was not fought on Bunker Hill. Newsflash. But that battle it went well from the perspective of this. The soldiers in that battle fought very well and had a lot of success in it. And that's what really boosted their morale. That's what told them they needed to keep fighting. And that battle was a really interesting one. I'm talking about the Battle of Bunker Hill. Remember, I said any battle between or before 1776 is open. Yes, Steve.
No, go ahead. I was just going to ask, isn't this the battle that took place after Washington crossed the Potomac?
I don't have my exact timeline on that. I do not remember exactly. So I can't say one way or the other. Maybe those of you that are listening might be able to comment on that. But very important battle, Battle of Saratoga. Yeah. That's all right.
I'm trying to remember if it was that one
And
or.
can I just encourage everyone that's listening? And by the way, thank you so much for your listenership. A lot of downloads of our podcast. Appreciate that. You can catch us on Rumble and YouTube, and obviously on Patriot Soapbox on Sundays from 1 to 3 in the afternoon Central Time. And we do appreciate you tuning in. But if you have ever been to the Northeast, and I'm talking Massachusetts, I'm talking New York. New York has a lot of Revolutionary War history. But if you ever get a chance, you ought to check out some of those historical places and the markers, and just a really fascinating thing. Saratoga has still got a lot of history there in that area, and you should visit it. Beautiful state. Can't stand their government and their taxes. Sorry, had to get that in. Sorry, but beautiful state by all means. So, all right. How about number 2? Anybody want to take a guess at this one?
I looked at your.
You looked. You cheated.
Yeah.
You cheated. This is a big one. Let's put that clip up there, Mr. Ryan. The Battle of Normandy.
Oh.
And, there's a lot of interesting facts about this, but this was the turning point that began the liberation of Western Europe.
During which World War?
World War II.
Is it World War II?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you don't know much about World War II, and especially what was going on in Europe, I think it's safe to say our world would be drastically different if the U.S. did not participate in this war. It would be vastly different. And I'm not even going to say that America would be like it is right now. I'm not sure that it would have. But that's my opinion, right? So this was an iconic symbol of Allied cooperation and resolve. Some interesting lesser-known facts. Ryan, if you would put that up there. General Eisenhower prepared a letter taking full blame if the invasion failed, which he kept in his pocket on June 6th. I never knew that. I find that to be really interesting. And you're talking about a man that was going to take responsibility if it didn't go the way that it went. And thank you to him for what he did. The Allies created fake armies, Operation Fortitude, to convince Hitler the invasion would happen in Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. Here's another interesting fact, and if I have this right, I want you to listen carefully. That is true, what I just spoke there. However, it did not work as well as what the Allied forces were hoping that it would. Hitler actually caught on to what was going on. It was a fake play on the football field, and he saw it and was able to start responding to it. And I think that's one reason why we suffered a lot more casualties on D-Day. Very thankful for those that gave their life to storm that beach. It was not pretty. It was probably one of the ugliest battles ever, and I do mean ever. I think the one that really rivals it would be Gettysburg. And if you've never been to Gettysburg, that is an incredible, incredible piece of land to walk. And let me tell you, it changes you. You feel something when you walk there. You really do. But Normandy was a very difficult battle. I want to say thank you to our families for your family members giving up their lives to do what they did that day. It is not forgotten. And
That was a very pivotal battle.
it was very pivotal. Changed the whole dynamic. Some paratroopers landed miles off target, yet many still accomplished critical objectives behind enemy lines. So a lot of interest. And folks, I just gave you the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the Battle of Normandy. There's some incredible lesser known facts all scattered throughout all of that battle. And read up on it. If you've not done it, read up on it.
And we could have a 2-hour discussion.
Oh, you could.
On some of these battles easily.
Yes, you could talk about lessons learned in a lot of these battles. So, all right, battle number three. I really believe this belonged here in this spot. Another big time. I'm going to call it a World War II battle because it was, but it's one that didn't happen where we think typically of World War II. We think a lot of World War II in Europe. This one was not. So I kind of gave quite a bit of the answer. I'll give you all a moment to think about which one it might be. And in 3, 2, 1, the Battle of Midway. And Japan ended up losing 4 naval carriers, ending its naval strength, and it provided a big boost in morale to U.S. soldiers, especially after Pearl Harbor. Now, we can all assert our disappointment in how things turned out in Pearl Harbor. Should have never happened. It should not have happened that way. But it did, and it was a wake-up call. I think the quote is really good. Woke a sleeping giant. And It did. It did.
Have you ever been, Steve, to Hawaii to see Pearl Harbor?
Arizona.
The Arizona? We have. And when we were there, you know how they say that there's a drop of oil that comes to the surface every minute? It was at that time too. But it's and you actually, part of the ship, was it out of was it above the water, part of it?
Yes.
A very small part of it was above the water. But it's a tomb.
You can still see the outline of it pretty good from the deck. If you have never been to
because it was
Hawaii, you want to make a stop at the USS Arizona Memorial. That was a moving place.
Yeah, it's always emotional for me to be at places where soldiers.
A lot of men died.
Navy, sailors. These are sailors, but it was very emotional.
And they do require you to be quiet.
Yes.
When you walk that place, they have people walking around. Kids, you're not going to be screaming whatnot.
It's a tomb.
Yep.
It's a tomb, and
so
you're
gonna keep it quiet.
A tomb. It's not it's not sightseeing. You're visiting a tomb.
Yeah.
So that battle really changed things because at that time Japan was very strong militarily. Now, how were they strong? In the naval. Their navy was very good. It was one of the top navies in the world. But unfortunately for them, they lost 4 carriers that day. And praise the Lord for that. Here's some interesting lesser-known facts. U.S. bombers, watch this, Steve, scored only 6 direct hits on Japanese carriers. Can I just say that's pretty good shooting? 4 out of 6? That's pretty good shooting.
That's not bad.
That ain't bad.
Direct hits.
The timing and placement was so devastating. The USS Yorktown had been heavily damaged at the Coral Sea just 1 month prior. Navy engineers performed miracle repairs in 72 hours at Pearl Harbor. That was something that was going on 24 hours. It was going nonstop. Returning it to action for Midway where it was crucial. Boy, I think about that. Torpedo Squadron 8, VT-8, flying outdated TBD Devastators, was wiped out in a heroic attack with no fighter cover. Their sacrifice drew Japanese air cover away, allowing U.S. dive bombers to strike the Japanese carriers minutes later. I want you to think about something, folks. Think about knowing that you're flying your last few minutes because you're not coming out alive. You know. What are you going to do? And these great pilots fly the mission. And I love hearing stories of just commitment, total commitment to the outcome. And boy, Battle of Midway, huge battle. Let's keep going. The next battle, I think, was one of the most critical battles in the Civil War. And you might be thinking, folks, it's the Battle of Gettysburg. We are going to talk about Gettysburg. We are going to talk about that. But this battle changed a lot of the momentum over to the Union. And that is the Battle of Vicksburg. Battle of Vicksburg. And another battlefield that if you've never gotten the opportunity to visit, you really should. Lot of just great history in the area. This is the battle that split the Confederacy via control of the Mississippi River, dramatically shifted the war's momentum over to the Union. Civilians in Vicksburg lived in caves dug into hillsides for shelter during the 47-day siege. It surrendered the day after Gettysburg ended, creating a psychological double blow to the Confederacy. Now, a couple of things here. Yes, shifted the momentum, but I want you to understand the criticalness of control of the Mississippi River. Remember, when you're in battles, it's important to get all of your logistical stuff able to be done. Remember the attack that we did on Iraq here recently. Okay, what was one of the key things? In a battle 50 years ago, would we have been able to do something like that? Maybe. It would have been, I think, a lot tougher. Why was it not so tough this time? Well, A, we didn't have any over-the-land routes that we could do. Middle East ain't going to allow that. Number two, we could go through the air. That's what we did. But you can only go through the air if you had refueling capabilities for your bombers because they would have been at the tail end of their fuel tank. So being able to fly mid-air and refuel allowed us to launch that attack and get back home. That's what you call logistical stuff. No different at the time of the Civil War. What was the main mode of getting logistical stuff then? It's your trains. Mm-hmm. It's your I'm going to call it horses and mules and whatnot. Wagons. Can we just say that? So there's a lot of that going on. And then boats.
Right.
Because if you can do your transport your food and supplies via the river, like Mississippi River, that's big. And if you control it, guess who's not getting their supplies? The enemy. So this battle here was monumental. And being able to combine that with Gettysburg, huge win for the Union. Huge win. And it dramatically shifted stuff. And can we all agree, if it had not been for the Union winning the Civil War, things would be dramatically different in America today?
I don't know if people realize it or not, but at the beginning of the Civil War, the Union really didn't do very well.
That's correct. They
did not fare well in the beginning battles.
Poor leadership.
Oh yeah,
a lot of it.
Yes, the people that were called to lead the Union Army
Yep. Yep.
had problems.
Yep.
You know, what would be interesting would be to see if the area of Vicksburg and any of the surrounding hills have any of these caves that
Boy,
are
that
around.
would, I've got to believe they do.
You know what I mean?
And I have to say, Steve, I personally have not been to Vicksburg. I would like to go there. I would actually like to go there.
But we've been to Gettysburg.
We've been to Gettysburg, and what's interesting there's a cannon that went through a barn.
Somebody owns the barn.
And the hole is still there. The hole is still there. But I think, and we'll talk more about Gettysburg in just a moment, but it's interesting you bring that up because the hole is still in the barn. And I've got to believe that in Vicksburg, some of those caves are still there.
Yeah. And
Maybe covered with vegetation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Interesting. Okay. Battle number 5 was not in America, but this was an important battle in 3, 2, 1. The Battle of Inchon was a decisive moment of turning the tide of the war to the UN and the U.S. And General,
You need to let us know what wars these were at. World War I, World War II. You need to kind of.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Will you forgive me?
Yeah, I've corrected you. You're fine.
General MacArthur insisted on this risky amphibious assault despite opposition. Now, I want you to think about that for a moment. How is General MacArthur viewed in, I hate to use this word, American folklore, or shall we say in military lore? He's a big dude.
Right.
He's one of the most prominent figures in American military leadership. So he insisted on something here despite opposition. The surprise landing was a strategic masterstroke. There's a reason why he had the reputation and has the reputation that he does. And it's because of stuff like this. The port of Inchon had a tidal variation of over 30 feet. 30 feet. And it required precise timing and naval coordination. So, General MacArthur, I think we owe you a big debt of gratitude on that one. Thank you very much for that. Really important battle there.
30 feet. Man,
I can't,
that's a lot.
I cannot fathom that kind of just having to think through it is unreal. And there's a lot that goes on into military planning. And to deal with something like that is a major issue. That's not a minor issue. Because you're talking about, remember, this is an amphibious assault.
Right.
So obviously there's people coming on land with equipment.
Yep.
And if we mistime this thing, they ain't coming.
And or you're going to, yeah. And you're going to be coming through nothing but a bunch of mud.
Yes. And so it really takes me back to Normandy. All right. Normandy had some similar features. Obviously, that was an amphibious assault. And when you think about what those men, some of those, if I'm not mistaken, some of those things did not make it to shore. They didn't even get close enough. So you're talking some really difficult logistics to work through. I do want to double check my thing because Nikki wants this. Maybe somebody knows real quick in the comments, but that battle was
MacArthur was probably.
I think Inchon.
I was thinking it was Korean War.
Korean War, wasn't it? I believe.
That's what I want to
Inchon?
say.
I think so.
And my thing is not working. This is not cool. This really is not cool. Our internet has awful reception here. I'm going to try to get that before we leave the podcast. So my apologies. Nikki will look it up. Okay. let's do this. Let's get to the next battle here, and that is going to be battle number 6. This was on American soil, and I didn't think this battle would make it on, but man, as I was going through stuff, it's like, oh yeah, this needs to be on there. Battle number 6, most important, the Battle of Atlanta. And it was a major victory for the North, and it led to a number of positive results. The capture of Atlanta by General Sherman boosted Northern morale and is widely credited with securing Lincoln's reelection. That's the reason why this battle is here. It wasn't just the fact of the win, although that was big, but the fact that it really helped Lincoln. Let me step back for just a moment and let me apply this in a modern day, like within the last 20 years kind of thing. Think about George H.W. Bush, the battle that we had to retake Kuwait. The swiftness of that was absolutely incredible. Now, who got a lot of the credit for that? Well, Schwarzkopf did, and he should have. That was a brilliant military planner. But the other person that benefited from it was George H.W. Bush. And every time that a major battle is won, the president always gets a lot of credit for that. And so you may be thinking, well, I don't like George H.W. I'm not asking you to like him. I'm asking you to see the fact that when a major battle is won or a major war is won, the president gets a lot of kudos for that. Even with Trump, look at what happened with Iraq.
Iran.
We bombed Iraq? No, Iran.
Iran.
I get my Irans, Iraqs all backwards. I really do.
So they don't want to
But
give.
yes, you're right.
They don't want to
You're
give
right.
him. The
You're right.
major news outlets don't want to give him any credit. But history, people, when this emotional political environment is over with,
Yes.
history will document the facts.
Yes.
And the facts are,
Yes.
it was under President Trump, and our servicemen are out. And women, by the way.
Yep.
There were women flying those B-52s, and they did exceptional job.
Totally agree. And the thing I really like is that Trump got in, got out.
Yeah.
We're not prolonging this. Nail it, get home.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. Sherman then began his infamous March to the Sea, practicing total war by destroying Southern infrastructure.
He burned everything.
Yeah, he sure did. He sure did. Confederate General John Bell Hood launched several failed attacks, weakening his army drastically. And Hood he suffered a lot in the Civil War. He did not do well. Certainly had a few wins here and there, but he really was on the losing end of a number of battles. Okay, let's get into the next one, and that is battle number 7 on our list, the Battle of San Juan Hill. And this battle helped propel the U.S. into being viewed as a global power. And that was, when you're trying to make a name, I think of, Steve, I think of athletes that try to make a name for themselves when they first get into professional sports. And it's always critical to get some wins up front, because then you can start to stake that out a little bit. You know, you and I, we like to watch some of those survival programs. We can name some of our favorite survival people. Why? Because they've won, they've conquered.
Right.
You know, and I think about this. The charge was actually not on San Juan Hill. This is another one. I don't know why they do this, but up Kettle Hill, which was adjacent to San Juan Hill, but San Juan sounded more impressive in headlines. I don't know why. Maybe people didn't like kettle corn. I don't know. But Kettle Hill was actually where this was fought. Theodore Roosevelt and his Rough Riders. A lot of people don't know about the Rough Riders, and even if they do, they don't necessarily know where they had a major impact. And they did here, became national heroes. Much of the heavy lifting was done by black regiments, Buffalo Soldiers, who often go uncredited. And can we just say thank you for your service in these battles? The battle helped catapult Roosevelt into the national spotlight, eventually leading to his presidency. Yet another battle that impacted a future president. So you can kind of see the importance of some of this. And before we go any further, just to make it clear, we're not pro-war. We are pro-defense. Okay, we're not. And by the way, we made the case on this podcast that going to Iran was the right thing. And it wasn't to help Israel, although that was definitely a benefit. It was for the defense of the U.S. You may not agree with it. It's okay. You can disagree if you want. But the thing is that it was critical. And we made that case. And if you're not sure of why or what we said, go back and listen to that last one. But
let me share something here if you don't mind.
Sure.
So we have a family member that is a correctional officer who's 6'3" and over 300 pounds. And he works in lockdown. So he works with the worst of the worst. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't like to fight. He really doesn't. He will always say, can I go in there and try to bring the tone down?
He likes to de-escalate.
He likes to de-escalate. He does. But one time he got a prisoner out of the cell and their hands were had handcuffs in the front instead of the back. Well, there was a broom there. And that prisoner grabbed the broom. Within one clean stroke, that boy was on the ground. Our relative body slammed him to the ground and got him subdued. That impacted the rest of the prisoners. They're like, we're not messing with you, man. We're not going to mess with you. Because he doesn't like to fight. And when he shows up, he's very respectful to him. But he always tries to de-escalate first. But peace through strength is a real thing.
I love that analogy.
Peace through strength. Mm-hmm. And the guy said to him later on, he goes, man, he said, no, man, something else happened. He said, no, man, you beat me up. I ain't messing with you. I ain't messing with you. And that's what America should be. And I'm not saying war is ugly.
It is very
Innocent
ugly.
People die, okay? Not just guilty people. Innocent people die, and it's awful. But we've got to keep peace as much as we can, and sometimes peace only comes through strength.
Yep. Well said. We're down to our last three top 10 U.S. military battles in U.S. history, military history. Number 8, you might go, whoa, but you'll see why in a moment. Battle number 8, the Battle of Mexico City. And the U.S. capture of the capital ended major fighting. Did you get that? Ended major fighting, resulting in significant territorial gains under the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Okay, let's get into these lesser-known facts. The U.S. Marines stormed I always have trouble saying this, Chapultepec Castle, inspiring the line from the halls of Montezuma in the Marine Corps hymn. This marked the first American military occupation of a foreign capital, and the Niños Heroes, or Héroes, 6 Mexican military cadets became national martyrs for refusing to surrender and reportedly leapt to their deaths wrapped in the Mexican flag. Those are your lesser-known facts there. But I did not know that that line from the halls of Montezuma came from this particular battle. Very interesting.
I wonder how bad the cartels would be if, like, the Marines were still there.
Well,
Yeah.
Just speaking
Just asking,
politically
aren't you?
incorrect there for
Yeah.
a little bit, you know.
That's an interesting
Just wondering.
question. Just wondering.
Just kind of throwing a thought out there.
Oh my. Battle number 9 on our list is the Battle of Chancellorsville. And the victory by General Lee of the South in Chancellorsville was a big morale booster because this was a prelude to Gettysburg. And, you know, it's amazing to me how these battles kind of line up. I have to think that if Lee had not won this battle, what would have happened immediately after Gettysburg? I'm not sure they stick together. They barely stuck together as it was after Gettysburg.
well, if it has been said many times that if the Union soldiers had pursued,
If they had pursued him, they would have overtaken him.
They would, after Gettysburg, they would have destroyed the army. But instead, the war went on 2 additional years because the Union army did not pursue the
And
Confederate
I think there was some reprimanding that went on for that. I don't know. I'd have to study my history on that a little bit more. But as much as the win for the Union was at Gettysburg, the decision not to pursue was equally impactful.
The Confederate army was so wounded and
Yes.
so disorganized at that time that they would have, if they had been pursued and overtaken, they would have had a hard time coming back to fight anymore.
It's amazing. Amazing. This was widely considered Lee's greatest tactical victory. Many look upon General Lee as another great military leader, and I don't think I can really disagree with that. Even though he was a general and they lost the Civil War, he was a pretty strategic general and did really well. They were outnumbered 2-1 in this battle. So I want you to think about, okay, we got 100 guys going up against 200 guys. I'm just using a small number here. What do you think your chances are to survive that? You better be really good. You better have some good decision making, some really good strategy, and you better have some shooters that are really good. And they won this battle big time. Confederate General Stonewall Jackson was accidentally shot by his own men during a nighttime reconnaissance and later died of pneumonia, crippling Southern leadership. Now, here is why this battle made the top 10. It is because of Lee's win and the fortitude that it gave him after Gettysburg, but also because of the death it led to the death of General Stonewall Jackson. He didn't die at this battle. He died later, but it was because he was shot by one of his own. Nobody can you imagine being a soldier on the battlefield and you accidentally shot one of your generals?
Oh no.
That's a sick feeling.
Responsible for his death?
Yeah. He never recovered from the pneumonia.
It was, I think they were doing, they had night duty, out there doing security, and he was mistakenly.
And stuff like that.
It was a
happens.
mistake. It wasn't intentional.
But here's the deal. I'm gonna ask you guys. I want to ask you this question. Do you, if you had your choice of generals, would you take General Lee or General Stonewall Jackson?
Oh, I would take General Stonewall Jackson.
And notice how quickly she responded there on that. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment.
I don't know. Tell you the truth.
Well, after you hear the story, you'll know.
Yeah, you'll know why. Ryan, do you have any thoughts? Do you know much about these two generals?
No.
Okay.
Because you went to school and they didn't teach you this.
I will tell you this.
Well, no, it's been a while.
It has been a while. Yes.
They both sound familiar.
So I would have, in a heartbeat, I would take General Stonewall Jackson. If I'm playing military games, Okay. And I'm choosing teams. I'm the captain. Okay. I get to choose my generals. I'm going to tell you right now, Stonewall Jackson's going on my team.
Yep.
Okay.
Not me, Captain.
Captain
Not
Robinson.
not you, Captain Robinson. Sorry, you're not a general. You're a captain. So Stonewall Jackson. Now, Nikki, go ahead and share why.
Stonewall Jackson was a bulldog. He stood out. You know, generals, how they stand back on their horses and stuff. And what I mean by a bulldog is he was really passionate about his role. He didn't hide. They would tell him, you're out in the open. But Stonewall Jackson, I mean, that's how he got his name, Stonewall Jackson, because in the midst of the battle, he was like a stone. He stood firm.
Now, what's the other reason?
Well, he also was a deeply devoted Christian
Deeply
man.
devoted Christian.
And you're saying, how could he fight for the Confederacy? If
Oh, man. Oh, here we go.
You have to, if he wasn't fighting
Yeah.
to keep, wasn't fighting. The Civil War is all about, people say, when you say the Civil War is all about slavery, you don't understand the Civil War.
It was not all about slavery.
We
No,
had talked
it wasn't.
about
What?
when
Nope.
John Arthur was going over some of the important documents at the beginning of the formation of our country. Remember, states at that time, when we formed America, states were acting like independent countries. Remember, they had their own currency. And then it became really hard to mesh a country together. So in the South, yes, not everybody who went and fought for the Confederacy owned a slave, nor would they ever own a slave. But they did not want to lose their state rights. So slavery is horrible, and it should have never happened. And thank God that, the war happened and we got rid of that. But the truth was that they were fighting because they didn't want a federal government ruling over them. They wanted, let me just say a quote, Virginia needs to be run by Virginians, not by somebody in Washington, D.C. What we decide in our state is for us, not for the federal government to come in and tell us something different.
Well, you learned quite a bit right there on that particular battle. Remember, that's the Battle of Chancellorsville right there. So let's go to number 10 on our list. The Battle of Trenton. The Battle of Trenton. Washington's win in this battle significantly boosted morale in the Continental Army.
That's the battle,
That's
I
the one.
believe. That
Yeah.
was right after.
And that's the one I can't tell if it was before or after.
That's the one I believe that occurred after he crossed the Potomac.
I think this
It's
was after
Trenton.
Saratoga. After. I'm not positive.
is it?
I'm not positive.
Okay.
Yep. But that's an interesting one. Yes.
Yes.
No,
Nikki?
that's if you know anything about that battle, the crossing of the Potomac, that's God ordained. That was God all over
Could
that.
not agree more.
God all over that one.
And then we're going to show you why in just a second here. Look at these lesser known facts. Washington's famous crossing of the Delaware River occurred on Christmas night, surprising Hessian mercenaries who were not expecting an attack in winter. That's a bold move. The victory was key in reviving American morale at a time when it just was not there. It led to an increase in enlistments as enlistments were expiring and hope was waning. In other words, guys have signed up for so long, their enlistment is done. This one helped keep it going. Only 2 Americans died in the battle, and both froze to death during the crossing. Do you understand what that means on the battlefield? We didn't lose a single soldier. That's God ordained. That's God ordained right there. And tremendous, tremendous battle. That's why it's number 10 on the list. Washington's plan involved a surprise. Steve got this for me. Washington's plan involved a surprise attack after crossing the icy Delaware River on Christmas night. Hessians were caught off guard, leading to a swift and decisive American victory. Does this remind you of anything, guys? Another battle in Texas?
Oh, not Texas. I was thinking of the.
Remember the Alamo. No, I didn't say the battle at the Alamo. I did not say that.
Not the Battle of Alamo.
The battle that was fought because
After
of the.
that.
That's right. Goliad.
Yes.
What happened there?
That was with Houston.
And it was surprise, surprise, surprise. And they totally annihilated the Mexican army there. Took them totally by surprise.
And they weren't just, they were shooting also out of those cannons. Was it walnuts or hickory nuts? Hickory nuts, I think it was.
That could be.
If I'm
could
not
be.
mistaken. When they ran low on ammunition, they started shooting hickory nut.
Well, it
Gotta do
it would
something.
hurt. It might not
it
kill
would-
you, but
yeah.
it would hurt.
No doubt.
I don't know.
Would
I
hurt.
bet it, if it was close enough. I bet
Let's get to our honorable mention list here. Boy, Bunker Hill, and again, I just want to say, I very easily could have put this on this list. I really could have. Bunker Hill was pivotal to giving some morale to the men, giving them hope. Yes, we can fight, we can do it well, and we can secure the independence we want for our country. And so it very easily could have gone on there. Battle of Lake Erie, Battle of New Orleans, Buena Vista, Little Bighorn. That's an interesting one. Yeah, boy, there's so much could be said about that. Battle of Gettysburg. I do want to camp out for there in just a minute. The Battle of Antietam easily could have gone on the top 10. Easily. Why? Because it was the highest number of casualties for the Civil War on a single day. And when you think about that, that's a lot of bloodshed. That's a lot of bloodshed. Battle of the Bulge.
I have that battle all the
boy.
time.
Oh my
Stop!
goodness. Oh
Stop!
my.
Oh my
I don't-
gosh.
I
No.
don't recall the Battle of Lake Erie. I can't remember.
So that battle, by the way, the Battle of Inchon, I was right. It was the Korean War. Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, the Battle of Lake Erie was the War of 1812. Okay.
okay.
Very pivotal in getting some additional reinforcements for that. And it was a crucial battle there. Battle of Iwo Jima.
We have here Miss Texas Freedom Road saying, don't forget Kings Mountain.
Ooh.
I don't know Kings Mountain.
Ooh.
Tell me about Kings.
Tell us more. Tell us more. Just a couple of highlights, if you would. And I'll be honest. And here's the thing, folks. This is why I do not understand how we as a country are going from X hours in school to X minus 2 hours in school. We've got so much history that should be taught. I do not know how we go 12 years without history being taught. And
Yeah.
and I'm sorry. I'm not making myself clear. My bad. We're teaching history. We are not teaching near enough of it. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. We need to be teaching a lot more history. A lot more history. And
Agreed.
can I just say a lot more US history? I'm not worried about history all around the world. U.S. history would be critical. We can teach about all the stuff having to do with Germany during the war there. Yeah, we can get into that. Why? Because we were involved with it. We don't need to be teaching all the other stuff. It's okay to teach. I'm not against that, but we got priorities that we should be teaching stuff on U.S. history. That's my thing. Steve, did that listener respond yet by chance?
Not yet.
Okay.
We'll have to look that one up.
We will have to. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Kings Mountain. That's really good. Well, we are going to get into Steve's shenanigans.
I can go shoot me a buffalo.
Nope.
Stay out of my garbage can. I'll keep it to myself.
We've got-
yes, sir.
We have got some interesting stuff today. And I said at the beginning of the podcast that Steve's going to be camping out with some of his shenanigans. Today's topic is camping.
Right on. Camping.
We
we're doing,
trust Steve so much we let our son go camping with him.
Right on.
and he had a good time.
And
did.
he had a great time.
Oh, he did.
They
He
did.
indeed.
They did some wild pig hunting, and they did it without guns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tell you-
With a rope?
You heard that right.
Yeah.
Without guns, did it with dogs, and even then, can be very dangerous.
And
But they had really well trained dogs, and it was a great time for him.
I was just going to say, and our son that went with you camping still does camping and hunting today.
He sure
Out of
does.
Our 4 sons, he's the only one.
He's the one. Jason would.
See the influence Steve has on
All right.
Well, that happens.
Yep, it's all right.
It's. I tell you what, it supplies some really good things for the dinner table for the family.
Hello.
Yeah, we ate
and
good.
we ate it
good.
all.
And y'all ate good too,
Yes, we
is
did.
what I understand.
Yep. So here's how this works. Steve's going to have some true false questions for us. Okay, we'll give you a moment to participate. You can put your answers into the chat there if you would like. But he's got some true false statements here. Mr. Steve, how about that first one? Shall we
Yes.
do it?
Now, one thing to remember here on camping, now, when we're dealing with this, these are not particularly laws. These are more rules and regulations that are set forth for these particular,
Questions.
forest or
Yeah, and Steve, we should also say this. I think this is what you're really trying to get at. Folks, anytime that you are out camping and in a particular state, do not care what the state is.
correct.
Do not care. You should do your due diligence and make sure you understand the laws and rules of that state and of that area. That's on you. That's
Correct.
what we're trying to say here. These are general. Can I just say it that
Correct.
way?
Yeah.
These are general. So
This is right, Charlie, and I like the way you put that. This is a general idea, and it's like Charlie said, always, always, always check, and recheck every time you go to a national park or a national forest or any place you go to camp. Check the rules for your state, for that park, for that national forest, because they have a tendency to change from state to
on a
state,
dime.
park to park,
Yep.
and forest to forest. So it's good to make sure you check all the time.
Let's get into the first one. Give us the first one there.
Captain, it is illegal to primitive camp on BLM land without a permit.
Is that black?
Okay,
Black?
so no.
What does
Stop.
BLM mean?
Stop. Okay, Steve, please tell us what BLM.
BLM land is Bureau of Land Management.
Done by your wonderful U.S. federal government. Folks, I have to put up with this all the time.
But you
all
love
the
her.
time. All the time.
It is
So-
not
But you love her.
the
I love
other
her. She is so wonderful.
Bureau of Land Management.
And Steve, can we safely say that we're not a fan of BLM?
No, we are not.
They do not manage land well. By the way,
No, they don't.
it's one reason why there was such a ruckus with Senator Lee and the proposal that
Correct.
he made. And I'm not saying I'm for what Senator Lee was doing or against what he was doing. All I'm saying is BLM is not a great land management agency. There. Made that. So, true or false, it is illegal to primitive camp on BLM land without a permit. I'm not going to define primitive. We're going to do that a little bit later, so we're going to see if you know you're camping. All right, true or false? 3, 2, 1. It is false.
False.
It is not illegal to primitive camp. You can do that, and might we say, we encourage you to do that.
That is correct.
Go
Do you
ahead and
test your skills?
squat on that land.
Now-
No, we did not
it's
say
tax,
that.
It's paid
Anita
for with
Marie,
tax.
Anita Marie, I knew I was going to have trouble keeping control of you. I need John Arthur back.
Now, a permit is not required for most primitive camping on BLM land. Now, this is the most common form of camping on BLM land. Now, granted, there are some areas that have unique permit requirements, but those are usually specialized types of camping, like ones that are on BLM land, blah, 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 that have certain types of, say, facilities or for long-term camping that are past the days that they allow.
Okay. Very good. I appreciate that. Let's get to our new next one to keep moving along here. And Mr. Steve, how about that next
Number
one?
2, national parks have regulations regarding numbers of persons per campsite.
Now, this to me would seem like a pretty easy one. I'm going to say true on this one.
I would think that one is true also.
So Nikki's going true. Ryan, where are you going with that?
Well, I can't answer.
He already knows the answer.
Well,
Captain,
me.
He's the one looking at the pictures.
So online, if you're wanting to comment, make sure you do it. 3,
I mean, I could answer, but I'll be right every time. So
2, 1, and the answer is true.
true.
They
There-
absolutely do.
Is a number of limitations. Typically, it is 6 people per camp and only 2 vehicles. Now,
Wow, that I did not know.
Now that's a campsite. So if you have more than 2 vehicles for a campsite, you have to get another campsite. You have
Correct.
to rent another campsite.
correct. And from what I have studied, that the rangers, especially park rangers, more so than forest rangers, because with national forest, a lot of times, a lot of the land the areas you camp to are going to be hiking to. Parks, most of the times you can drive to your campsites. Okay, and the park rangers are pretty strict on, like, the numbers of vehicles that you're allowed to
Yeah.
have for
How big
your
is the camp?
campsites.
How big is a campsite?
It depends. It's different from place to place.
Usually only big enough to have like 6 people to be able to camp in one campsite area.
It's got to be probably
So it's not going to be
One
real
tent?
big.
maybe 1 tent. Size of a
1,
tent.
2,
Okay.
3 tents, depending on
Three
how many
smaller
you
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
put in your tent. But, you can, I don't like saying this, but a lot of times you can have a tendency the rangers can be a little lenient on numbers of people, but not with vehicles.
Okay.
They are not lenient on vehicles at all.
Yep.
They're pretty strict on numbers of vehicles per
Very good.
campsite for sure.
Interesting. Let's go to the third one. Mr. Ryan?
It is legal to take an artifact. It has but that should be an
Yep.
artifact, rock, or plant from a national park.
That's an easy one. That's a full
Like-
on, unadulterated false.
I would go with false.
You
Yeah.
mean, like, if I was going and, like,
See, all those things you have to
picking up
return now.
an arrowhead someplace?
You have to go return all those items.
And by the way, there's a lot of people that have gotten themselves in a severe pickle with the federal government over this kind of thing.
You are exactly right, Mr. Charlie.
Yep. So
This is a big false.
This is a big no. You don't do this. And might I say, folks, if you have never been to camping on federal land or something along that line, you mind your P's and Q's, because if you get caught, that is, it's not pleasant. Probably.
And here's a little deal with that. The Department of the Interior is the one that heads up the national parks.
Mm-hmm.
And they consider all of these protecting the national and historic resources for general and future people.
Yep.
That, people that are going to be coming around in the future or other generations to come. And now what they're worried about is that there's so many people that do show up. They get around 237 million people a year. Figure there is approximately 332 million people in the United States.
So you're talking about national park.
Like 95 million difference.
I did hear that is it the Grand Canyon? They actually have places that people can't go.
Yes, that's up in the northern part of the canyon.
It's very interesting.
Yes,
Yep.
You're not allowed to.
So don't pick up those artifacts, plants, or rocks. And
That's
I
where
did say
the
rocks.
Aztecs and all the pyramids are at. Is
Oh, is
up
that
in the northern
I thought-
part of
okay.
the canyon and in the caves there.
We digress.
Yeah.
Control,
Excuse me there. I
control.
was kind of going off on
Focus.
a little tangent
Yeah,
there.
that's
I was
it.
kind of like,
All right, Mr.
So,
Steve, how
okay.
about the next one?
Next one. Number 4. It is illegal to have a campfire in a primitive camping area. It is illegal to have a campfire in a primitive camping area.
Now, again, we're not giving away what the definition of primitive is. So y'all are going to have to try to solve this without knowing that at the moment. This is a very interesting question.
How can you go camping without a campfire?
It's not what it's saying. It's saying it is illegal to have a campfire in primitive camping area.
Well, I can see the problem. I could see the problem of I don't want you starting a fire here because I don't want there to be a forest fire. So I can see a problem with that.
If it's a primitive camping area, you would have a primitive campfire.
And is it illegal to have one in a primitive camping area?
I'm leaning to false on this, but I can see where it may be true.
Now,
And I've got my
about
reasons.
those in California.
Oh man, don't go there.
Now,
All right, what's our answer
the
here?
answer is false.
It is false.
It is not illegal, but
Oh, here we go.
there's those buts we got to throw in there. Some are larger than others, but I digress. The thing is that with camping, everybody likes to have a fire. What's camping without a fire, right?
Right.
Amen.
Right.
But
Amen.
if you're in California, you may not get to have a fire because why?
You got
Burn
Governor
ban.
Newsom.
That could be in New Mexico. That could be Texas, Louisiana.
So it wasn't Governor Newsom?
Right. It just depends on what's going on. You
Yeah.
need to check with the county. You have to check with the forest at the time that you're going to. They may have a burn ban going on. And in some areas, they may not allow fires. Some only allow certain parks and certain forests only allow camp stoves. They don't allow
any further with
open
that.
campfire cooking.
Okay.
So
Because your next question deals with this.
because you have to check, like I said, check
Yes.
with everyone that you go to. None of them are the same. They're all different. But generally, overall, you can have campfires.
And it should be noted, folks, that when you go to like a campground, you can check with the managers there, and they should be able to give you those rules. They should be able to tell you what's allowed and what's not. They should know the area.
Now, that is at your parks, okay? Because generally overall in forest, you're not going to have anyone available
right.
to ask.
That's exactly
But
right.
at your parks, your park managers, they'll be able to let you know whether or not there's a burn ban or not, and whether or not you're going to be limited to just your stove or not.
All right.
So,
Next question.
number 5, true or false? There are different regulations for national park camping versus national forest camping.
I'm going true on that.
I'm going to agree with you. I think that's true.
And in 3, 2, 1. That's true.
I was watching that yesterday, so
Man,
I
I'll tell you, he's
spent
got it
time to
down.
remember. Okay, that is a big true.
That is.
There is definitely differences between a national park camping and a national forest. Now, the reason behind this is because most all of your national parks are managed by the Department of the Interior. National forests are managed by the Department of the Agriculture.
Okay.
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 The Department of the Interior has a different style of management. Their permit requirements are completely different. The Department of the Interior, they manage the forest for product like wood, paper. That's what our forests are for management. And they manage them just for those purposes. And plus, you're allowed also in your forest, you have, should I say, a little bit more leniency in being able to have freedom in being able to camp wherever you want
Okay.
in a national forest. You
Right.
can pretty much go and camp wherever you want.
So, Steve, have you camped in national park?
Yes, I've camped in parks and I've camped in forests.
I've camped in forests. I have not camped in a park.
Yes.
Where'd you go?
To Sam Houston State Forest.
Oh, that's right. I
Yep.
remember
Yep.
that.
Yep.
I did not go. When they have
Because Nikki does not go to this kind of stuff.
when they have glamping, we'll talk.
We'll talk. Oh my gosh. Steve, we got to nail the last one really quick.
Okay,
I
no
want to
problem.
give people an opportunity to think this through. Name the 5 things that make primitive camping actually primitive. And Steve, you'll be glad to know that I got 4 out of the 5. I actually got 5. I didn't use the same terminology. But give everybody here just a moment.
I have an idea.
I thought this was a really good question.
Here's my
5
answer.
things that make primitive camping actually primitive. You do not get to answer. All right. Mr. Steve, what are they?
Let's see here. Do I have any people writing in the comments what that might be? Okay, now this is through my years of doing a lot of camping. Okay, one of them, no bathrooms available.
Oh. All right. Miss Nikki's out.
See that bush? See that tree over there? Yep.
Don't have the equipment for that.
Yep, that's where it's at, my friend. Or you either take up a little tarp and you kind of hang it around a couple of little trees and bam, that's it right there.
Keep going. We got to go fast.
Number 2, no running water. You don't have any running water available. You have to bring in all of your water with you. Number 2 or 3, very, very important, no readily available food. 8 times out of 10, when you're primitive camping, you have to forage for food, i.e., you have to hunt for it, or you have to fish for it, or you have to trap it. One of the three. Or bring some, and usually it's difficult to bring a lot of food if you're staying for an extended time period. Next one, shelter. You got to have shelter. You either got to make it or you bring in some, either a tent or you're making primitive shelter to sleep in.
Some cool shelters that you can make.
Oh, really? Neat ones. Yeah, and I've made baker tents and slept under the open sky before. And number 5, which one everybody likes to have, is fire. It provides light, it provides heat, and it also provides you a way of being able to cook your food when you get it.
So when you get that fish, nothing better than fish in the pan.
Oh, man, or have your little grill and
Yep.
grill you some fresh fish right there, my man. Oh, my goodness.
Now, I liked yours, and I had put in some different ones to consider as well. No electric or cell service. Hello? Primitive. Yeah. Just saying. Maybe a compass would be good. And I like the other one. And this goes to what you talked about, the self-sufficiency. That's really what makes this stuff primitive. Now, I've often wondered, are we talking about making fire from flint? Are we talking about making fire with 2 sticks? And folks, that is really super hard. If you do not practice doing that, it is extremely hard. Really hard. Hard on your hands.
Yeah.
Hard on your hands.
Yep.
Well, Steve, thank you for that. Was a very enlightening little conversation on camping. And why don't you, listeners, just comment real quick. Favorite place to camp? Favorite place to camp in the U.S.? I'm going to say mine was Western New York because it is absolutely beautiful up there, and the weather can be just gorgeous in the fall. It is a wonderful time to camp up there. But tell us your favorite place. Maybe you've had some great experiences of camping. We would love to hear about them.
I've got a spot. I just got to say that I've taken my kids since they were 10, my stepkids since they were 10. Well, all the boys anyways, because it's a boat ride that is 7 miles upstream up this bayou in the national forest. We camp on the side of the bayou, stay there for 7 days, bring absolutely zero food, hunt and fish for everything, and camp.
Good.
And we live and survive and have no problem getting food because I teach my boys how to fish for food. I teach them how to hunt for food. I teach them all that kind of stuff, and I teach them how to cook it. And they're now in their 40s, and they've been going since they were 10.
And let me just say this real quick because we're going to move into our next segment here. Steve knows how to cook. Oh, man. He can do up some great fish. No doubt. We need to do another one.
Ayish Bayou, if anybody knows where that is.
Amen.
Ayyish. Ayish Bayou.
Well,
Cajun name there.
It's time for Nikki Knows Facts. Before we get into this segment, I do want to take a moment. Nikki's got it's kind of some gross stuff. If you've got some little kids that might be bothered by some of the discussion, it's a very interesting discussion. So don't turn it off by any means. But if you do have some sensitive ears around you, you may want to dismiss them from the room. So we're going to give you a moment to do that. But Nikki's going to get into a topic that is really, it's compelling. It's very compelling to look at, and she's going to give some stories of different things that have happened to different people that really bring to light a very interesting phenomenon. All right, so darling, what do we got here? We got Nikki Knows Facts: When the Brain Breaks, How Injuries Reshape Who We Are.
Man, can you believe this?
What's that?
Just a Pug told me not to bother the buffaloes.
That's right. He's right.
Just a Pug is 100% right on that.
Buffalo meat's pretty good, though.
Oh, it is.
Oh, it's great.
That's
yeah.
pretty good.
But you don't want to be on the wrong end of the buffalo.
Boy, no,
right.
not even.
Thank you, Just a Pug, for that.
We're going to travel back until 1848 and to a man named Phineas Gage. Put up that first picture here.
Cage or Gage?
Gage. My
Gage.
apologies.
That's okay.
Ah.
Yes, so Phineas Gage was a 25-year-old railroad construction foreman. He's a smart kid, all right?
No, put that picture back up there for just a moment.
Keep the picture up.
And let me tell you why. I want you to note something. It might be hard for you to see on your screen, but his left eye it's gone.
No, actually, it is not.
It's not.
I'm going to tell you that.
Are
in a
you
minute.
my
Yeah,
God.
I'm going to show you. I'm going to tell you the story.
Oh, it's his right eye.
No, hold on. He didn't lose any eyes.
He didn't lose any
Let me
eyes.
tell the story. So he's 25
bad.
years old. He's a railroad construction foreman, and his job was they were in charge of the dynamite. And he had himself a 43-inch, 13-pound iron rod, and one end of it he had filed down so it had a point to it. And it was called a tamping iron. And he was getting ready to do some explosives, and he was tamping the ground with his iron rod, and he actually hit something sharp, caused a spark, and
it went
shot up.
boom.
Yes, that picture that you see there, it went under his left cheek and out through his skull, completely out. It didn't get stuck there.
Now you know why
It
I
went-
asked you to let
Yeah.
the little ones out.
So when the men turned around over this commotion, he was on the ground convulsing. Of course, he's got 2 holes in his head at this time. But once he got done with his convulsing, he was conscious. He actually walked to the wagon on his own and was talking. There was a doctor that was working part-time at the railroad, and they went to get the doctor. And Gage, seemingly unfazed, greeted him by saying, "Here's business enough for you." And they took him back to his room because he was running a room where the doctor, this is the gross part, the doctor said you could see the brain, he actually lost brain matter. And they were expecting him to die.
Yeah,
Okay?
I bet.
Personally, everybody would expect him to die at that moment that he got shot through the skull. So takes him back to the room, and the doctor does the examination and makes sure there's nothing left in there. So he just goes in with his fingers to clean out anything that was left in the wound. Yeah, it's gross. And then they call in his mother and some family members, and he had infections. He became semi-comatose for a while, but within a month, by October, this happened in September. By October, he was walking and talking again. And
Out of town.
I know. And this was Dr. Williams that was on the scene first, but a Dr. Harlow took over his care afterwards. So he did recover to some extent, but his personality changed. They said before he had been a very energetic, polite, responsible, and he was really favorable. He was liked by a lot of his crew, but afterwards he became impulsive, rude, and unreliable.
So I think that's something to note here in this first case that you're looking at. The dramatic change
And his personality.
in his personality.
However, one thing the doctor, and by the way, when the doctor was reporting this, they were writing articles and conversing with other doctors, they were not believed because everybody said that's impossible. You cannot have a iron rod go through your skull and you to live. So this was a phenomena of 1848. I mean, think about that. That it was just incredible. But anyway, one of the things the doctor said is that Gage even though his personality did change, he was somewhat reliable because he held a job as a stagecoach driver for many years. Now, he did die 12 years later, and he did die from complications from his wound. It was the frontal part of his brain there.
Probably that doctor sticking his finger in.
Yeah, that didn't help, did it?
So we're talking about the brain. And so one of the things I needed to bring out before we go into the third part of this is between the 1930s and the early 1960s, in the United States, they did lobotomies. And a lobotomy, if you don't know, it's been discredited at this point, but it's a form of neurosurgical treatment or for psychiatric disorder or neurological disorder. It also was done for epilepsy or depression. And it was severing connections in the brain's prefrontal cortex. Now, the problem here is when they did this, it did people who had psychiatric problems and may have been wild in their expressions or whatever. This did seem to make the people very, how's the word I want to, their personality did change quite a bit. They became very, I want to say non-sociable in a sense. And they just had a lot of problems. They were changed, not for the better. They were changed for the worse. These lobotomies were done on women, more on women than they were on men. Nearly 60% of them were done on women over men. We did about 20,000 of these in the United States, but more were done actually in the UK. So,
Wow.
But
That's interesting.
yeah, one of the things that we have to be careful. Just because the medical field comes out and says, "Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this," the medical field has some bad history, and I think we should question everything. I really do. And that's from Wikipedia, and you can go look that up yourself. But one of the things that we're going to end here with is something called savant syndrome. And savant syndrome is a phenomena that demonstrates exceptional aptitude in one domain of your brain. Now, there's two types. You can be born with it, or you can acquire it. And that's really interesting. So we're going to, and usually these, this part of your brain that you are exceptional aptitude in is usually going to be artistic, musical, or mathematical. And so let's listen to some of these people who acquired savant syndrome. They weren't born with it. You can go on. I got a lot of my information, Wikipedia or YouTube, and also on simplepsychology.org for Phineas Cage. So the first one we're going to talk about is, do you have picture number 3?
It ain't raining, man.
Did you get it up there? Okay, you got it up there.
It's a calendar cut.
Yep.
Miss Texas Freedom Road keeps saying it's raining, man.
Oh, I like it to be raining. It saved me money on my water bill.
Rain,
Okay.
man, rain. And
So-
I'm like, it's not raining, man.
Get the gauge out.
Yeah.
So Orlando Sorrell was playing baseball at the age of 10 and was hit in the head with a baseball.
Ouch.
And for several days he had a headache, but he got up, he finished the game. But what happened is he had increased memory. He could remember everything he had for breakfast every day of his life. I know, that sounds incredible, doesn't it?
That's weird. That is really weird.
Strange.
Now, here's another interesting thing. He is known as a calendar calculator, which means you can give him any date, whether it's 100 years in the past, 100 years in the future, and he can tell you what day of the week it will be, whether it would be Monday, Tuesday. You can say, hey, what is January 5th, 2034 or 2134? And he'll tell you what day he.
That's wild.
Yes. So
I don't know that I'd want to remember everything I ate for breakfast all my life.
Or be able to say which day of the week a particular date was.
I know.
But
Well,
you
think
know,
of that-
and
think
you
about
know
that.
what? Real quick, some of you might be thinking, well, yeah, this would be cool to be able to do this. For some, it's almost a curse. I've seen stories on this, and it's not as nice as what some people might think it is. And that I can just imagine some of the difficulties with some of these. I don't know as I want to call them skills. I don't know what to call them, but anyway, keep going.
Well, our next person is Jason Paget. Now, that's the next two pictures. Jason was coming out of a bar and was mugged and was hit on the head. And he said when he woke up, he knew he was different. He didn't do that well in school, but all of a sudden, he started seeing things in dimensions. He started seeing it in his world. Everything is mathematical. And he became a mathematical genius. And he goes around and he talks today. You can find him on YouTube if you want to hear more of his story. The next ones are just three people that had injuries that caused them to have savant syndrome. And one of them is John Sarkin, who was a chiropractor who suffered a brain hemorrhage and had brain surgery. And after he got out of surgery, he then became an artist. And, of course, his personality had changed too there. The next one is Lee Ersick, who fell into a ravine and suffered head and spinal injuries. She is also an artist now, not before, but afterwards became an artist, and everything is based on math with her. Anthea Sikoria was struck by lightning, and he taught himself then to play the piano because he became obsessed with music. Now, one of these things were that I wanted to bring out were the personality changes that went forth here. Some of these people, because their personality changed so much, were divorced. They gained this other talent, but they did change. Their personality did change, and they did change their life in a lot of ways. Now, moving on to people who are born with savant syndrome would be people like with autism or severe brain injuries at birth. One young man here in picture number 8 would be Jonathan Wilshire, and he was actually mute. I want you to look at this picture. This picture is really important. He was mute until he was 9 years old. He communicated through drawings. At 9, he started learning to talk at 9. But in 2009, he was flown over Tokyo for 20 minutes. After he came home, he was able to draw a 33-foot picture of what he saw. So that picture there is him remembering what he saw when he was on his helicopter flight. The next one is Kim Peek. He was born with severe brain damage. Now, his father was told just to put him in an institution. No, there was no help for him, but his father did not believe that. This man can read 2 pages of a book in roughly 3 seconds and remembers everything he reads. Do you remember that old movie, The Rain Man? Mm-hmm. This movie is based on Kim Peek, by the way.
Oh, is it really?
Yes. And our last picture is Daniel Tammet. This young man was able to recite pi to the 22,514 decimal place. Yeah.
Okay,
And he can
just,
learn-
just for those of you that don't remember, there is no pattern in pi.
It's
So
crazy.
think about that. That's 22,000 what?
22,514 decimal places.
That is unreal.
That is amazing.
So he learns languages at an amazing rate. We have a young man that we know that knows pi up to 300, right?
No, he knows it up to 16, I want to say. 1600.
1600? I think he's got a ways to go then to beat this.
Yeah, he would.
So it's amazing. Your brain is an amazing thing. And, I think there's a lot of things that we have not yet tapped into our own brains. But it's an amazing organ.
I would agree. And I think there's a number of different stories out there.
Absolutely.
About this kind of stuff. And might I just say, when it gets to the point where you're dealing with a family member with a brain injury, A, don't lose hope, okay? But B, because in some of these instances that Nikki talked about, things happened right away. It was quick. In others, it may take a little bit of time for it to really come to fruition. And so when I say don't lose hope, I really do mean that. I mean, don't lose hope. But you also need to be very understanding. Very understanding. And you need to be very careful about how you interpret actions and attitudes. You need to be very careful about some of the things that you say. Because not only does their knowledge, I have a hard time using that term right there, but in some instances it might be, but also just the way they act.
And one thing I want to say when I say personality change, that doesn't necessarily mean it was a bad personality.
No, it might not be bad at all.
If they were never interested in music and then all of a sudden they're interested in music,
that's not personality though.
But things are going to change. They're going to want to listen. They're going,
I'm talking about anger versus kind words.
Yes, I just wanted to make it clear when I say a personality change, it didn't necessarily mean like Phineas Gage, who went from being a very calm, polite, generous young man to a very rude, impatient.
It's not always that way.
So I just want to make sure that you weren't associating what happened with Phineas Gage to these other people, because that may not be the case at all.
Yep.
But that is, like I said, a lot of that just go on YouTube. You can get that on YouTube. You can look that up on Wikipedia.
I know what Miss Nikki's thinking. She's thinking, man, if I could just smack my husband once in a while in the head and just have him get,
Well, you're musical. You're not artistic.
I'm not artistic.
But you're strong in math, so I don't really know what amounts to.
You're not worried about improving what you've got. I love it.
I'm not really too. I mean, you may not be artistic, but you can build me furniture, so I like that.
Yes, I do, and I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that. Very good. Well, that was a very interesting little topic right there.
You didn't want me to do it, though.
No, I didn't. I did not.
He said that's gross.
It is gross, and I didn't want to hear it. But no, it is. But it is a compelling topic. There's no doubt.
You have to talk about what Phineas Gage went through in 1846. Such a, that's so backwards to how we live today in the medical field.
In one of the things, and I want to be careful here. If somebody is shot in the head and that bullet goes all the way through, I mean, could they live through that? And I think you could make a case there's a very small possibility they could.
Well, back then, a 13-pound metal rod is a little bit bigger than a bullet.
But how many people survive a bullet? Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yes.
I mean,
a bullet in the brain is very rare.
Yeah.
Very rare.
Yep. To survive that.
Yeah. Most people don't survive getting shot in the head.
Well, that was a very interesting. Are you going to have a really good topic for us next week? One that's not so gross.
Yeah, sort of.
All right. Well, this is a good time to get into a little lighter mood kind of thing. Time to do a song review. And I'm not sure we're going to really have time for our Screw Tape Letter review, but I do want to get to the song review. And Rai, the producer guy, has got a couple of very interesting songs for us. So, Ryan, how about get us kicked off with that the first one here?
All right. So, first one I have today. Let me see. Find the right cut first.
Yep.
Let's see.
He's looking. He's
Right.
looking.
Be thou my vision.
And for those of you that are listening, maybe you truly understand. I think my personal opinion is this has got to be one of the greatest all-time hymns ever written. This is
Oh, yeah.
Pomeroy opinion here, but that's where I would stand on that. And I think it's a great song. Keep going.
All right. So, hold on. Okay, so a little bit of background I found on the song. I put down it was by Eleanor Hull because that's the person who is most closely associated with it from what I found, but listen to this. So, Be Thou My Vision is a traditional Christian hymn of Irish origin.
Yep.
The words are based on a Middle Irish lorica, which is apparently a prayer of protection, from what I found, that has sometimes been attributed to Dallin Forgale. I don't know how you say that name, but
Okay.
and then so believe. Let me see. Yeah. Dang, I didn't write her name down. Sorry about that. But Burns' English translation was first versified by Eleanor Hull, co-founder of the Irish Text Society, and published under the title A Prayer in the Poem Book of the Gael in 1912. This is now the most common text used.
And I think if anybody that knows music knows that some of the best music we've ever had actually comes out of Ireland.
Oh, yeah.
I
love Irish.
Yeah.
The Irish sound.
I was going to
The
say Irish
sound.
Irish influence.
Irish influence. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it's really strong. But so let's get into that first verse there, Ryan.
Okay, and we're only going to go over a couple verses from this song today
Yep.
for time's sake. All right, verse 1. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light.
Very simple verse there, if you will, beautifully stated. One of the things that we like to do in our song reviews is to take a look at those songs that have been considered hymns, Christian songs, Christian genre, if you will, and we like to see how they line up theologically.
Yes.
Do we know what we're singing? Does it line up with what we should be singing? And I think you can see right from this particular verse, it is pretty spot on. Those lyrics are very strong.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do number 2.
Verse 2. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word, I ever with thee, and thou with me, Lord. Thou my great Father, I thy true Son, thou in me dwelling, and I with thee one.
Boy. I love this hymn. I really do.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think if we were to, just step back, if we were to go through all 5 verses, all 5 line up
All 5.
really well theologically. And again, I think it's one of the greatest hymns that has ever been written, and is still sung on Sunday mornings. Still sung on Sunday mornings.
Mm-hmm.
So great pick from this one. I will say, I don't think Eleanor Hull is the one that really wrote this. Only from the lyric in verse 2 there, but it's most closely associated
With Eleanor
with
Hull.
her. So that's why we put Eleanor there at the beginning of this. But
Yeah, and she was the easiest one to find a picture for. So
Sure. Yep. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to contrast that with this next one.
Yeah, this week I kind of wanted to look at very diametrically opposed songs, as Mr. Charlie said. One that is very kind of like, Lord, help me be all you want me to be this for me. Contrast that with a song that's more selfish.
It has a tone of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to look at Dirt Roads in Heaven by Ann Wilson real quick.
Okay, now, those of you that are listening, maybe you don't necessarily listen to a lot of Christian genre, and that's okay. If you were to go and listen to this song by Ann Wilson, it is catchy. It is not what we would call theologically sound.
If you're a country fan, you will definitely
You'll love this song.
You'll love Ann Wilson.
You'll love this song.
I think
Country road
Yes.
is dusty.
Yeah.
My bumper
I was
gets
gonna say
dirty.
when
wait.
Steve's done singing, I was gonna say, I think you as a listener need to understand that what lyrics are biblically sound and what lyrics are just for fun that don't really have a biblical foundation.
I think even lyrics that are just for fun still need to be biblically sound if you're a Christian.
Boy, I'll tell you what.
Because this one, I understand what you're saying, Miss Nikki, but this one, it's not biblically sound.
It's biblically messed
And I don't
up.
know this one, so I have yet to see the words to this.
But
throw
I
the
do-
first verse up.
I do have a little background on her real quick.
Yep.
So if you don't know Ann Wilson's story, give you a brief overview of it. You can go check out her full video on her YouTube page about her story and how she got into making music and all that. But it all started when her brother, I think, was killed in a car accident or something like that. And she was really struggling in her faith. And she just, after getting through all that, felt a call from the Lord to start making music. So that's how she started. She's a very recent artist.
Yes.
She started back in 2021 with, I believe, her first single was My Jesus, which is actually a pretty good song.
Yep.
And that's one thing I want to say. I don't hate Ann Wilson. Like,
No.
I'm not trying to come
No.
down on her at all. Like, she's got some great stuff. I told Mr. Charlie before this, she's got some stuff where I'm like, all the lyrics, I'm like, amen, amen, and amen. And then she's got some stuff where the theology is just like really iffy.
And this is a great opportunity to bring this point up again. I want folks, sing all you want. You should sing. It's biblical to sing. But what are we singing?
Yeah.
Are we just yakking? Are we just singing? Or is there a purpose behind it? And there should be a purpose behind it. There should be a clear purpose, and it should align with a biblical thought and idea or doctrine. And in this instance, you're going to see how this does not line up real good. Go ahead.
You know,
right.
it kind of sounds like she plays the towing the dead car down the road type kind of thing, where she she does some good stuff, but she also plays along with the company road.
And most-
you know what I mean?
I think most
A lot of artists
Well,
have
a
that
lot
issue.
of
Yeah.
artists will do that, but then again, you'll have some that will just tell them, heck with you, I'm going to do it myself.
Right.
And there's a lot of artists that are out there that are like that and are making going their own way, as you would say.
Yep.
Pull it up, Ryan.
All right. First one, oh gosh, I'm already having problems with this. I'm gonna need this. I'm gonna need a place to roll down all the windows, somewhere to sing along with my radio, out underneath the sun that don't stop setting. That's how I know there's dirt roads in heaven.
Oh, wait, what? That's how I know what?
There's dirt roads in heaven.
Holy cow. Go ahead.
Gonna need a way to find them wildflowers. Okay, real quick, you don't need this, you need God, okay? Let my old dog Hank run around, somewhere to go to count up all my blessings. That's how I know there's dirt roads in heaven.
Okay. All right.
Where do
So this is just wrong on a number of different levels. First of all, there are no dirt roads in heaven. And the one thing that I really appreciate about the Lord, he gives us everything that we need, so she's not going to need anything. And the roads that are in heaven have been paved with gold. And we don't need anything else besides that. I don't know about you. I lived in the country
I like
for the
the country.
first 20 years of my
Yes,
life.
Ann Wilson is someone who really...
And she's been in the country.
She was raised in Kentucky. She still lives in Kentucky. She was raised on a farm. She loves that country lifestyle. She's a big country fan, collaborated with a lot of country music artists.
Yep.
So,
And I personally do not like dirt roads. That's not a slam on Miss Ann, because there's
And
just,
tell you why is because
because
they tore up.
there's a lot of nostalgia with a dirt road,
yes.
but there's a lot of potholes on a dirt road.
And it tears up your
and
vehicle.
Tears up your
Washboard
vehicle.
roads are so horrible.
Awful.
And will
Awful.
tear up a
So when you look at this lyric here for verse 1, you're going to need a place to roll down all the windows. No, you're not. No, you're not. The environment in heaven is going to be so wonderful, you're going to have a hard time soaking it in. Forget about rolling down a window. You will not want to be behind a window. You will not want to be on the other side of a window.
Amen on that.
You're going to want to just be in the midst of this place, soaking up every bit of what you can.
All windows open.
All windows open.
You bet.
You are not going to have any dirt roads in heaven, Miss Ann. And I know what your heart is tugging at, and I know what it's feeling. This world is just part of the pilgrimage. This ain't the final stop. Praise God.
Ooh.
We're on to a better place. That's what we're saying. Go to that next part, Mr. Ryan. We've got another couple minutes.
Okay. Here's the chorus. Oh gosh. If Jesus loves me, this
Stop.
What?
There is no
If
conditional. Jesus does love you, will always love you, cannot ever not love you. Keep going.
If Jesus loves me, this I know. They won't all be streets of gold.
Miss Ann, I have to I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Sorry. They will be all gold. Oh, and newsflash, the Bible said it's not streets of gold, it is street of gold. Just saying, check your Bible out. Keep going.
If I get there and they got one, I'm going to put my Chevy on.
No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not.
No, you're not.
Okay. And
Can't put no Chevy. It's got to be a Ford. F-350 four-wheel
That just
drive.
lit up the internet right there. Keep going, Ryan.
And this next part is talking about her brother she lost. Tell you the first thing I'm going to do, I'll be riding shotgun next to you.
Okay, now, here's one thing that I told Ryan beforehand. And by the way, I thought he picked out two songs that really show the contrast, which is what we wanted to do. I hurt for Miss Ann and the loss of her brother.
And we're not trying to diminish
We're not trying to diminish that
say
at all.
That her like pain is like,
Yep.
what's the word?
she's basing the song on a memory.
Yes.
Yeah,
Is
she
that's what
longs
she wants.
to have those good nostalgic times with her brother.
And you know what? There is nothing wrong with that. But what you're saying here is that when you're putting Christian on top of it,
yes,
people are looking at this, people who may not be strong believers, who may not be believers at all. And it's not giving a good reflection of Christ or the holiness and righteousness of God. Having that memory, let's say that she did not do this under a Christian label. Say that she did this under a country label that didn't have anything to do, with saying I'm a Christian artist. Most people would not even...
They wouldn't think anything.
They wouldn't think anything of it.
Oh, yeah.
But a lot of our Christian artists today are putting things in there that are not theologically sound, and people who are unbelievers or not strong are embracing this.
And that is, to me, a problem. And I was just thinking about something here real quick, and then we're going to go around the room for last comments. When you look at a song like this, the first thing that goes through my mind is, and you wrote this for you, and good for you. This is a way to soften the hurt in your heart, and we're all for that. That's not That's not the issue. The issue comes from if we as Christians take to a song like this and we start singing this and we sing it blindly. We're not thinking about the words that we're singing. And so what happens is we sing it around people that are unbelievers, and guess what they think? They think that heaven has dirt roads.
If Jesus loves me, he'll give me what I want.
That should
in
not
heaven.
be a question.
No.
So that's where our issue is. It's not with Anne herself. It's not with her song. It's really written for her. And honestly, this is Charlie opinion here. She wrote it for her, and she should have kept it for her. I'm not sure this is one that should have been produced. That's Charlie opinion.
Well, I think that I think the problem is, and it goes much deeper than the song, is there's so much loose theology out there.
Yes, and this kind of song leads to that, though.
Loose theology. And so then you try to share Christ, and everybody thinks, well, I can just do what I want because Jesus loves me how I am.
No.
Jesus is not going to do this. Jesus is going to do this for me because he loves me. And
Jesus is all sunshine and rainbows, and he'll give me what I want.
Absolutely.
All right, 30 seconds. Here we go. Big impact today. The favorite thing we talked about.
The favorite thing we talked about today, I think, I like the story of Phineas Gage. I really do like that. I think I do like it because it's such an amazing story. It's an unbelievable story.
I kind of liked your segment, Charlie, because there was a number of. I'm a big history buff, anyways. I like history, and when I start finding out things about history that I didn't know before, it's real interesting to me because I go, man, how come I didn't learn this in school?
Yeah.
How come they didn't teach me this?
Gotcha.
And I feel like I kind of got left out or something.
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan.
I would say going over those battles was pretty beneficial for me just because it's been a while since I graduated school, and really some of those battles I don't recall ever learning. Some of them I did, but some of them I don't recall at all.
And I have to say, I really appreciated the songs that Ryan pulled out today because it really does show the importance of knowing what we're singing. We can't just sing blindly, folks. That's a dangerous thing to do. We can't just talk blindly. We need to be aware of what we're talking about. And so I think we've covered a lot of ground today. I really appreciated everyone's input and their work. We are looking forward to getting John Arthur back. Can I just say before we leave, is everyone excited about NPR? And come on, say amen. We're actually going to talk a little bit about that next week.
Oh,
we're going to get into that topic just a little bit. Is it right for any media organization to be funded by the federal government? That'll be an interesting topic. And we'll get into some other good stuff. But I want to thank you so much for joining us again. You can catch us on Rumble. You can catch us on YouTube. Right here on Patriot Soapbox from 1 to 3 on Sunday afternoons. We're live. And we appreciate the downloads that you guys do for us. And we hope that we've encouraged your hearts today and maybe enlightened you in the area of some knowledge somewhere on some things that maybe you didn't remember or learn about. John Arthur will be back in 2 weeks. Now, folks, I'm giving you a heads up. In 2 weeks, it is our 200th episode. 200th episode.
Are we going to have cake?
Well, I think we should. I think we should celebrate with cake and ice cream.